right, what is up, guys? We are doing some angles review today. Happy Thursday, and then Friday, and then next week, remember, is going to be a makeup week to get caught up on all your missing work. So please take advantage of it if you need to. But here we go, into angles review. So number one, we're trying to identify, we have the central angle here to identify. So the central angle, there's a few of them. We'll name angle EAB here as a central angle. There's also EAD, BAD, and EAC. So all of these angles right around the center here are all going to be central angles. An inscribed angle, we can look at B over there as an inscribed angle. So angle CBD, here's my inscribed angle. There's also one over located at D, so EDB is also one. Okay, a chord, there's a few of them here. There's the diameters, but we'll stay away from that one, and we'll go with arc, or line segment, I should say, for chord, not arc. B, 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 D. And then once again, it's a line segment, so straight across. Minor arc, remember, is always less than 180, so we could do EB as our minor arc, or even CD is our minor arc, or even BD is our minor arc. And a major arc has to be 3 letters more than 180, so let's go with ECB as our major arc, as long as it's more than 180 and less than a whole circle, less than 360. All right, so we're going to find the measures of these arcs. All right, and it might be hard to see, but it does say that this angle EBD is 32 degrees for that angle there. All right, so arc BE is inscribed. Remember, that is double. So this is 2 times 32, which is equal to 64 degrees. All right, that's supposed to be an equal sign there. There we go. Arc CD, so arc CD is going to be equal to the measure of that arc. So we're going to get there. So two things, these two angles here are equal because they're vertical. So if this is 64, these two angles are both 64 because the central is the same. So these angles are also 64, which means this arc is also 64 degrees. Arc CE, you remember, is supplementary because it forms 180 with the diameter there. So it's 180 minus 64, which is going to be 116 degrees, and the BD is going to be equal to the same thing. All right. And here we go. Number 2. Circle A, BC is a diameter, angle DAC is 100. If EC is equal to 2 times BD, find the rest. So we'll call this X, and then EC is going to be 2 times that, so 2x, okay? So we can figure this stuff out now. Now this is 100 degrees for the central angle here, all right? So we can kind of go through and fill things in, but let's take a look at what we need to know first. For letter A, we want to know what the angle of BAE is, so this is A. B, we want to know what arc EEC is, so this arc right here is B. And for C, we want to know what the measure of arc DEC is, so that's C, the arc right there, all right? So once we get X, we'll pretty much be able to answer this whole question here. So we'll have 2x, we'll have the central angle located around A here, and then we can get the measure of A. So let's get X first. So first of all, I know this central angle is 100, so this central angle is 80. Also, this arc has to be 100, which makes this arc 80, okay? So once I know X is 80, I'll know arc EC is 2 times that, so this is 160. And that means that this arc over here from E to B has to be 20, which means this central angle is 20, and we can answer some questions. So angle BAE is equal to 20 degrees. Arc EC, we already figured out, was going to be 160 degrees. And arc DEC goes all the way from D all the way around, stopping at C, is just going to be 80 plus the 20 plus 160, which is 260 degrees. All right, Number 3, find the value of x in circle A and explain how you found your answer. So to get x, which is formed by these two chords crossing in the circle, so anytime we have an angle inside the circle, all right, remember that means it's the average of the arcs. So if it's inside the circle, it's the average of the arcs. Okay, and if it's outside the circle, remember our saying outside is different. So we are going to subtract and take half. All right, so in order to figure out what x is, I'm going to need to know the measure of this arc and this arc. Okay, so I can automatically get arc BC because angle BAC is a central angle. So the arc is equal to the angle. And now I can figure out EF by using our outside is different rule. Okay, so the angle measure, 30, is equal to the difference of the two arcs. So 104 minus, we'll call it EF, because we'll keep it arc mode, divided by 2. And then we're going to cross multiply and solve. So 60 is equal to 104 minus EF. We'll subtract 104 from both sides to get 44. Really, it's negative. And then we can just divide by -1 or multiply by -1 to get positive 44 back. All right. So now that I know that EF is 44 degrees, now we can figure out x. So once again, the inside is equal to the average of the arcs. So x is going to equal 104 plus 44 divided by 2. So this is 148 divided by 2, and x is equal to 74 degrees. All right. On to the next one. So for number 4, we're trying to find an x. So when I'm looking at this, it tells me that I want to figure out what this arc right here is. All right. If I can figure out that arc DC, I can get angle x. So in order to figure out arc DC, we look at what else we're given. We're given this inscribed angle here and the angle outside our circle here. So that inscribed angle is going to help me get arc FC, which is going to be double, and that's 70. And then the outside angle is going to help me get arc BD, and since it's a diameter, we'll be able to get DC. So see if you can do it on your own. Go ahead and pause it. All right, and we're going to continue here. So once again, outside is different. Okay, outside is different. And so that tells us we are going to subtract. So 40, the angle, is equal to the difference of the two arcs. So the bigger arc is BD minus 70 divided by 2. We're going to cross multiply to solve with our proportion we made. We get 80 is equal to BD minus 70. And then we're going to go ahead and add that 70 to both sides and end up with arc BD equaling 150. All right, make it a little more pronounced arc there. So now that I know that this is 150, now I know the measure of DC has to be 180 minus that, which is 30, okay, because it's forming a diameter here. And now I can get that x is half, because it's inscribed, of 30, so x is equal to 15 degrees. All right. Going on to the next one, number 5. Given the two measures, what is the measure of CEA? We've already mentioned before that any angle inside is equal to the average, okay? So we're just going to do 87 plus 35 divided by 2 is equal to angle CEA. And we want to throw the little m in there for measure. And so we just add and divide by 2. So that's 12, 11, 12, 122. And so this is 61 degrees. All right, so remember, inside the circle is the average, outside is different, and you subtract and take half. On to number 6, we got our quadrilateral inscribed. So we want to find two things, the measure of angle F and EG. So remember the rule, when you have an inscribed quadrilateral, okay, the opposite angles add to 180, okay? So if this angle is 86, that means angle F is 180 minus that, which is 94 degrees. And then arc EG, okay, should be noted that we would want to have 3 letters here. So let's go with the measure of arc EDG, because technically I don't know which E to G we're going to go with. So we're going to go this direction, okay? And away we go. This arc EG is an inscribed angle, so remember that is twice the measure of the angle itself. So 2 times 94 is going to give us the measure of the arc. So inscribed angle, the arc is double, and so that is going to be 188 degrees. And that is our major arc. The minor arc on the other side. So I think since we have one that's a major arc, which is this angle, had I been given this question on the exam, the correct answer would have been the other side, because this would be the minor arc, to be less than that, less than 180. So 86 times 2 would be 172. And so since this is less than 180, that would be my minor arc. So in technicality, if it said the measure of arc EG means that it has to be minor, then this would be 172 degrees. Okay, so major arc would be 188. Minor arc, the one we're looking for, is 72. All right, number 7, another ratio question. All right, so as soon as I see the ratio question, remember that means that I'm going to put x's on. So arc AC is 3x and CB is x. So 3x and x. And we can see that this the two x's make up that side of the circle. So I need to figure out a few things here. Now, before I go any further, I'm going to label everything I know. I know arc DA is 56. And I know arc DB, and we'll switch colors again, is 112. So that gives me the whole circle now. All right. So I want to determine, let's see what we want to figure out here. Angle CEB, so that's this angle right there. I want to know this, so we'll call that A, and that's inside the circle. So remember, that's the average. I want to know angle F. Remember, that's outside the circle. Okay, so that's going to be the difference, right? And then DAC is this inscribed angle, all right, which is going to be half of that arc. That includes both 112 and X. Okay, so let's find out X first, and then we can go back through and label the question. Okay, so we know that's the whole circle. So 360 is equal to 56 plus 112 plus x plus 3x. And if you want to combine some stuff together along the way and make your equation a little bit smaller, go for it. We're going to get an 8, 6, 168 plus 4x. All right. We're going to subtract that 168 away. And we're going to end up with our answer. Well, 4x equals. And then we'll be able to get that's 5, so that's 2, 15 is 9, and we get 192. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and divide out by 4 from there, and we should have our answer. Just double checking that it's 192, and it is. And this gives us 48 for x. And so now I know that this arc is 48, and this arc is 3 times 48, which is 144. Okay. And now I can answer all the questions. So for A, determine the measure of angle CEB. We're going to want to do the average there. Okay. So for A, we're doing the average. So that's 56 plus 48 divided by 2, which is equal to 6 plus 8 is 14. Carry the 1. 104 divided by 2, and that's equal to 52 degrees. So that's the measure of angle CEB. All right. For part B, we want to know angle F. Remember, outside is different. We want to do half and subtract. So the bigger arc is 144 minus the smaller arc, which is this black arc in here, which is actually, it's not 144, guys. Rewind. This arc, if you follow the sides of the angle up, angle F hits at B and hits at A. So this arc created goes all the way from B all the way around to A there. So it's actually a combo of 44 and 144 and 48. Okay, so that should be 192. Switch colors back again. Let's make it a little easier to see here. All right. So 192 minus 112 divided by 2. And that's 80 divided by 2, which is 40. So the measure of angle F is 40. And the last one we want to figure out is arc DAC. So for part C, remember DAC is that inscribed angle. So it's half of this arc. If we follow the sides of the angle up from D through A to C, or through to B to C here. Okay, it's just 112 and 48. Okay, so that's half of 160, and that's 80 degrees. And there is that question. And on to number 9. Okay, in the diagram below, CD is parallel to AOB. To remember parallel chords. Okay, create or make congruent arcs. If I could spell arcs, that would be great. So if these two chords are parallel, just like a sandwich here, okay, these two arcs are equal. So if CD, which is this arc, is 130, then these two arcs have to add with 130 to form that half semicircle, which is 180. So it's just 180 minus 130, and then divided by 2. All right, so this is 50 divided by 2, which is 25. So the measure of arc AC is going to equal 25 degrees. All right, then dropping down to the bottom, we have the two tangent lines. So remember, this is kind of a hat rule question. So if these two tangent lines are coming from the same point outside the circle, this arc would be equal to that arc. That's not what the question's asking. However, they want to know if the measure of angle ACB is 38, then what is the measure of angle AOB, this angle in here? Okay, now there's a couple ways to do it. Number one, we could draw a line in from A to C and bisect that angle and solve it that way. Okay, we know that the two triangles are going to be equal. Or number two, we know that when a tangent line hits a radius, it forms a 90-degree angle. A tangent line is perpendicular to the radius if it hits it at what's called the point of tangency. So these two are going to be 90-degree angles. And now I have a four-sided figure called a quadrilateral. And I know that inside the quadrilateral, all the angles are 360 degrees. So I can just do 360 minus my 90 plus 90 plus 38 and get that answer. All right. If we did cut this in half, that would leave this as 19. And then I would have 19, 90, and some other number to give me 180. Right? 19 plus 90 plus something x equals 180. And I could solve from there. All right. So 360 minus, let's see, that's 180 plus 38. How about 218? And then we're going to subtract that away here and get 100. It's like 24. How about 42? All right. Remember that the answer we get here is actually this one angle, and there's two of those x's that make up the whole thing. So if we're doing it like a triangle, okay, we're going to get 109 plus x is equal to 180, and then when we subtract 109, we're going to get x is equal to 71. And so 71 and 71 gives us 142. That is it for today, you lovely people out there. Hope you have a great day. I will throw up just a couple questions on Schoology to take a look at today. But finish up. Have a wonderful Thursday. Tomorrow, review of segments. And then I will send out some encouraging words for next week to make sure you guys get caught up. All right, guys, have a great day.